What's going on, ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages? Joker back again, once again, and welcome back to the wonderful world of Destiny Flexes, the only Destiny lore series on the internet, where the comment section gets to philosophically debate which is truly the better flex in Destiny lore. Saint 14 killing armies of Vex single-handedly over the course of hundreds of years, or Lord Shaxx giving Marazov the Striker Special. Now, because you decimated that like goal quicker than I would have even thought possible, and because I'm a man of my word, here is the greatest flexes in Destiny lore part 2. And because you decimated that like goal in such an expedient fashion, you guys are really mad fucking lads out there. Let's see how you do with 2,500 likes. If this video manages to get 2,500 likes in the next week, then episode 3 of the greatest flexes in Destiny lore will be out in a week. But that's not all, ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages. If this video manages to hit 3,000 likes before I get episode 3 of Greatest Flexes in Destiny out, I will do Greatest Flexes in Halo lore as a bonus video. If not, I'll take my time. But real talk, for a moment, the support that you guys showed me on my first Flex video was fucking amazing. I said it at the end of that video and I'll say it again here. I know I took this format from Nux Taku, and honestly, I could have changed it up. I could have done a top 5 or a top 10 or something like that. But part of the enjoyment of this format is memeing on Destiny lore. I mean, really, I got to boil Calus's entire crusade to become Emperor down to wanting unlimited soup and salad as opposed to unlimited war. That's not factually incorrect, just not quite right and really meme-tacular. Better yet, when I was talking about the lore from the Mark of the Great Hunt, where Shaxx and Mara have carnal relations, I got the pleasure of stringing together the words, "And when Shaxx finally gives her the Striker Special, Titan slamming right down the center of her Twilight gap, the helmet stayed on." That's just not something you get to say when you're doing more of a super serious approach to the lore of Destiny. So, thank you so much. It was quite humbling to see the support that you guys poured into that first video, and you all fucking rock. But enough of this mushy BS. Like I said, your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to hit 2,500 likes, and you'll get Greatest Flexes in Destiny lore part 3, and it will be out within the next week. If this video hits 2,500 likes and I start working on Greatest Flexes in Destiny lore part 3, but don't get it out before this video hits 3,000 likes, then you will get Greatest Flexes in Halo lore as a bonus video within the week. But ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages, without further ado, let's dive right in. First flex! Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. What is there to say about Uldren, Theodore, Melvin, Ulysses Zov III? Well, actually quite a bit. He's quite possibly one of the best written characters in the entirety of the franchise. And before anyone gets triggered, saying Uldren is one of the greatest characters ever written in Destiny, or that he's one of the most complex characters in all of Destiny, doesn't mean you're supposed to like him. Uldren is basically the Jaime Lannister of the Destiny universe, a comparison I break down in what was quite possibly one of my favorite videos of all time to make, why Uldren is the best written character in Destiny. I'll leave the link to that in the description below if you want to check it out. Part of what makes Uldren a really amazing character, and I say this without joking, is how the universe itself seems hell-bent to flex on him. The guy can't even stay dead. He was revived, and according to the Amnesia Dawning ship, the universe still seems to be flexing on him. But just like Jaime found Brienne of Tarth to help make him a better person, especially after losing everything that he was in his past life, Uldren has pulled pork. Yes, pulled pork is the name of his ghost. And no, unexpectedly flexing on our heartstrings is not the flex we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the old Uldren, not the new Uldren. So Uldren gets flexed on a lot in both the lore and the games, and it works because it's part of his character journey. In fact, Uldren is probably one of the most complete characters in all of Destiny. Uldren is an arrogant prick, but he's also hyper competent. He's a great warrior, a great tactician, and a great spy master. Flexing on somebody who's entirely pathetic with no redeeming qualities isn't a flex at all. So we do like it when Uldren gets flexed on because we feel he deserves it. Because he is this hyper competent warrior, but he's also a D-bag. Forsaken and the timeline of events that we get the details of show that Uldren's life between the start of Taken King and the beginning of Forsaken is one big sort of cosmological flex on Uldren. So Uldren gets captured. He gets the absolute shit kicked out of him. And I wish, oh dear lord, I wish I was joking. The Kell of House Kings looks down at Uldren and he goes, "You are so pathetic that you can do the one thing that we can't. Unite the houses." Yeah, remember when everybody thought that Uldren fought a Kell in single combat because that's what the lore led us to believe? Nope. He was just so pathetic that the Kell made him a Kell or something, I guess, because he wanted the houses united. Oh, I really wish that wasn't lore, but I digress. So, Uldren forms House Dawn, which just so happens to apparently have identical house colors and iconography to the extinct House Rain. Yeah, remember when we thought that they were purple because Marazov and Purple and the Awoken and Uldren? Yeah, no, fuck all that shit. It was because they're actually emulating House Rain. It's not that House Rain in Destiny 2 has the exact same models as House Dawn because Bungie was being cheap and couldn't be bothered to make new Fallen color palette swaps. No, not at all. It's because they were actually all along identical to House Rain. So, weird continuity thing aside, after creating this huge coalition of houses under one banner, Uldren decides he'd rather have mutated fallen zombie boys that call him Daddy. I guess we all have our kinks. At this point, Uldren is clearly going insane, trying to help a sister who he has some, shall we say, complex feelings for. I'm not saying that he too wants the helmet to stay on, I'm just saying that he wants the helmet to stay on. Uldren is basically pushed to tear his kingdom apart. He gets thrown in jail by Petra, escapes, and does everything he can to enter the Dreaming City on the hopes that he can save his sister. But wouldn't you know it, the universe flexes on him once again because fuck Uldren. It wasn't his sister that was calling out to him.
It was I, Dio!
Of course, the one reaching out to Uldren wasn't Dio, it was his sister's pet wish dragon, Riven. But given the whole Zawaldo hijinks that takes place within the Dreaming City, it's not entirely inaccurate either. But I keep digressing. So, during the events of Taken King, Riven was taken by Oryx because Oryx was foolish enough to wish for it. And this is super simplified. Anyways, it allowed Riven to keep some of her free will, and when Oryx died, Riven fell into the hands of Savathun, and well, you know how that goes. All of that is kind of besides the point, but also kind of relevant, but it leads to us flexing on Uldren so hard he becomes a freshly minted blueberry. Though, now that I mention it, Uldren's death does contrast nicely with the flex this overly long explainer has been leading up to. And that, of course, is Cayde 6's final words.
Well, this is awkward. You got a gun I can borrow?
No. But I do have a bullet with your name on it.
Any second now, my partner is gonna roll in here and kill every last one of you. And you, my man.
Shh. This is going to hurt. A lot. Any last words?
How's your sister?
Now that's a great clip and a great one-liner. Cayde was going to die, and you know what? He was going to go out on his terms. But only focusing on this amazing one-liner kind of diminishes how truly amazing this entire flex is in the context of Forsaken. Spoiler alert to anyone who didn't know, but at the beginning of Forsaken, Cayde 6 dies! Gasp, shock, I know. And at the end of Forsaken, we, along with Petra, execute Uldren. Yeah, sorry my dudes, I don't care what your headcanon is, you can clearly hear both the Vestian Dynasty and the Ace of Spades fire at the exact same time. Actually, you can kind of hear the Ace of Spades before the Vestian Dynasty, because the Vestian Dynasty sound kind of comes in the middle of the Ace of Spades shot, not at the beginning, not at the end, just kind of in the middle of it. Hashtag our Guardian shot first. I should make that into a t-shirt. But back to the point, because I am criminal when it comes to digressions. Now take how Cade died, and contrast that with how ULDREN died. Cade sat up, he looked ULDREN in the eyes, and he told him to go fuck himself. Cade died with dignity. ULDREN, by comparison, went out crying, pleading, a broken man, making excuses, probably in a puddle of his own fecal coliform. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages, I propose to you that the true epicness encapsulated by the "How's your sister" line is not the line itself, but what it represents between the two characters when they died. Also, it's just kind of one hell of a flex.
How's your sister?
Next flex. Now, one of the easiest trappings of doing the greatest flexes in Destiny is just how easy it would be to count the player's achievements. Or at least that's what I originally thought. I mean, sure, here's a picture of me flexing on some rando in the Crucible whose name is Flexing with the Vex, in a video of me talking about the greatest flexes in all of Destiny. If nothing else, it sure makes for one hell of a flexception. But that's PvP. At that point, I might as well just post a shoulder charge clip where I'm the last dude standing in a 1v4, 1v5, and I annihilate the entire enemy team in survival while One Punch Man's theme plays. With nothing but my shoulder, hashtag have shoulder will travel. Or I could use any other cool things that any individual player has done, but that's not what this list is about. This list is about cool things in lore, and memeing, and being kind of cringe, and embracing that cringe in front of the world. Because too many people get caught up on not being cringy, but it's like we're all cringy. We just don't want to admit it. If you think your shit doesn't stink, then your shit probably stinks more than the rest of us. I'm just saying, I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Life advice. And embracing that cringe is why I chose this format over a normal top 5 or top 10 list. Those would be so easy to do. I'd be like, at number 5, we have that time that Lord Saladin forgot who we were. Excellent. At number 4, we have that time where the Kel of Kells was killed by the player. Entrancing. Next list. Nobody wants that. That's not fun. But God knows there's enough of those top 5 lists on YouTube. So, given the criteria of being simultaneously entertaining, but also not just something that the player does, you know, like that time that we went and killed Oryx, and then we told Tolan to go fuck himself when he was like, but you need to fill his spot. Except, we bought the game to go kill Oryx, and we didn't know that we even had the option of becoming the next Taken King. It doesn't really count as a flex when it's in the lore after the fact, and we were never given a choice in the game to do it. Yeah, like I said, this was harder than it seemed at first. And then it dawned on me. Now, this flex is here less because of what actually happened, don't get me wrong, it's still pretty badass, but more because the memes surrounding it. And that was the time that we flexed on the Vanguard and declared war on ULDREN.
I refuse to bury any more friends.
You won't have to. ULDREN Sov is mine.
I'm sorry, I just love that moment, because the Vanguard, it's sitting here like, I don't want to lose any more friends. And we're like, bitch please, who do you think you're talking to? Now, to a newcomer to the franchise, this might not seem like that big of a deal. You might even think, but Joker, you already disqualified anything we bought the game to specifically do, and revenge was most certainly what people bought the game to achieve. What newcomers to the franchise might not know, however, is that this moment was the first time our Guardian spoke since Vanilla Destiny 1, after we dropped this totally badass one-liner, which in and of itself is a flex.
So, think you can kill a god?
Don't think I have a choice.
So this flex is less about us declaring war on ULDREN. That was an inevitability because that's what we bought the game to do. It's less about us telling Zavala to go fuck himself because he's like, I don't want to bury any more friends. And we're standing there like, bitch, please. Do you even realize how many gods I've killed at this point? No, this is here purely for the fucking meme it spawned. That fucking moment when the most powerful Guardian who has ever lived breaks his half-a-decade vow of silence just to say he's gonna clap your ass. I mean, does it really get any better than that? Next flex. So, at the beginning of Destiny 2, the Cabal come in and take the city, take the Traveler, take our light. Gull kicks us off a ship, hovering miles above the city, and we fall to our death. I mean, we survive. It's okay, we get better. In fact, losing our light was barely an inconvenience at all. But I'm not here to talk about us once again. During the siege of the city, somehow, someway, Gull not only knew the importance of the speaker, but managed to capture the speaker, seemingly before the invasion of the city even started. Throughout the course of Destiny 2's single-player campaign, we get clips of Gull and the speaker talking to one another. Gull believes the speaker holds some sway over the Traveler, and to be fair, at the time, so did everybody else. Gull feels like taking the power of the light from the Traveler would mean failure. Gull wants to convince the Traveler, through the speaker, that he is stronger than humanity, and that his Red Legion should become the Traveler's new guardians. And I guess he plans to do this by holding the speaker captive, torturing him, and interrogating him. Yeah, not the best plan when you put it that way. But throughout these conversations, we get some really incredible moments from the speaker.
You are nothing like the Traveler. Nothing. You think you have power, control. I know your kind. You started small. You will end small.
Or
bravery inspires sacrifice. Sacrifice leads to death. So, feel free to kill yourself.
And as great as those lines are, they really don't hold a candle in the wind to the speaker's biggest flex. Because not only did he flex on Gull, he flexed on everyone.
Tell me, speaker, what more does the Traveler want of me?
Gull, I speak for the Traveler. I never said it spoke to me.
Next flex.
That's a good job, Colonel.
What's that now? 7 in a row?
Yeah, who needs the light when you got a fine feathered friend by your side? Am I right? Am I right or am I right? I'm right.
Next flex.
Bravery inspires sacrifice. Sacrifice leads to death. So, feel free to kill yourself.
Okay, I know that's cheating, I'm aware, but while editing this video, I was like, come on. This man is the ultimate flexer. Let's put it this way, the speaker is such an epic flexer. The guy who headbutts Kells to death, who fucking did this!
My name is Saint 14. They call me the greatest titan who ever lived. But I would be dead if not for you. Since the day I met you, I swore I would make it my duty to follow your example. I'm still trying.
I mean, let's break this down. Saint 14 just beat a dude to death with another dude and his head. And he calls the speaker Daddy. If that doesn't make you the greatest flexer in the Destiny universe, I don't know what does. Next flex. Now, when talking about the Iron Lords, you're basically talking about a ragtag band of flexers. Take the Knights of the Round Table and give them superpowers. Not what I meant. Though, I mean, Yolder, I'm not what I meant. No. We're not doing that. It was the Dark Ages, and while the stakes weren't necessarily higher, I mean, come on, the Iron Lords were fighting warlords, fallen, and were killed by the Holy Grail. Wait, hold on.
セイラ、聖杯よ、破壊しろ。そんなバカな。
Huh. Well then, I stand corrected. Okay, but this doesn't mean that the Iron Lords were without flexes. In fact, you could do an entire episode devoted purely to the Iron Lord's flexes. Wink wink, nudge nudge, let me know in the comments below if that's something you want to see. But there are two in particular that everybody remembers. One's with Felwinter, which we'll save for another day, and one is with Lady Aphrodite. Now, the amount of information we have on Lady Aphrodite is abysmal. No, really, this is her Wikipedia page. And all that's really on it is the flex, that she was an Iron Lord, that she was a hunter, and that she had a sniper. However, we do have one story of Aphrodite. Shall we call it the Aphrodite Yeet?
So Lord Saladin and Lady Aphrodite. He'll hate that I'm telling this story, but Lady Aphrodite. I like Lady Aphrodite. She tells me everything. We like our stories, and we like our helmets. So, Aphrodite. She lifts Saladin over her head. And she says, I never miss. She lifts him over her head and she throws him. And he cranks his fist of havoc. Their combined arc energy singing like a drawn sword. 20 miles down, he plummets into a fallen walker. He's like a cannon shot out of a friggin' anti-aircraft gun. Everything explodes. Her ghost was laughing and she revived him. They saved a whole village of people. This was the Dark Age. They had those villages. I miss those days. I miss Lady Aphrodite.
I just love this whole thing. I mean, Lady Aphrodite picks up Saladin, and she's like, nah, I don't miss, and then yeets him 20 miles down into a canyon. And the way that this story is told, especially by Lord Shaxx, who's really, I would say morose, really reflective, really stoic about it, kind of. Like, he's happy at the beginning, but like at the end, you can kind of tell he's lost in a memory. So even though we don't know much about Lady Aphrodite, the esteem and the high praise that Shaxx has for her says a lot. And this is just a really, really charming moment. Next flex. Speaking of the Iron Lords, Lord Saladin is quite the flexer as well. In fact, he's one of the only characters in the entirety of the game to flex on the player character. Let me explain. So at the end of Destiny 1's life cycle, Bungie needed a stopgap in content because something catastrophic had gone on with Destiny 2's development. And they needed to reboot Destiny 2's development in the 11th hour, just like they did with Destiny 1. So Bungie put together a small team to give us Rise of Iron in the meanwhile. Rise of Iron was essentially a story that told us how the Iron Lords met their death, looking for their version of the Holy Grail, Siva, and to a lesser extent Rasputin. The Iron Lords chose to destroy it. Huh. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Centuries later, after the Iron Lords believed they destroyed Siva, or at least sealed it away, the Fallen would find it and unleash it. Lord Saladin then requests our help to deal with it. I mean, after killing 3 gods and a Vex amalgamation of a god, what's a handful of Fallen? And as the story would pan out, it would be super easy, barely an inconvenience for us. And at the end of that story, Lord Saladin would make us an Iron Lord and give us a spiffy sword.
Approach. There was a time that only Iron Lords carried these blades. There are many like this in our armory, but this one is new. It is yours, young wolf. You are the first of a new generation. Take your place as an Iron Lord.
Come Destiny 2, the tower gets destroyed, the light gets taken, we of course take back our light, we kill Gaul, and the first Iron Banner rolls around. We walk up to Lord Saladin and we're like, oh hey, old buddy, old pal, old friend of mine, glad to see you survive the Red War. Where's Lady Aphrodite? I thought she'd be the Iron Banner handler from now on. But you know what? Good to see you. Lord Saladin turns to us and he's like,
I don't even know who you are.
And in a weird way, this 3-year insult to injury gets better. So, pinnacle weapons, and titles for that matter, have been a thing since the release of Forsaken, and with the release of Season of the Dawn, we get our first Iron Banner pinnacle weapon. And is it a replacement for that snazzy sword that we lost? No, it's a bow, because Lord Saladin's like, flex this bow, bitch, to remind us just how much he keeps flexing on us. And all the young wolf can do for all our immense power is essentially just take it. Just say, okay, well, fine. Maybe I will flex that bow. Also, how's Iron Lord not a title yet? Next flex. Now, all of these flexes have been good. Some surely better than others. Some maybe you rolled your eyes at. Hell, some of these have been legendary.
Feel free to kill yourself.
But I think I've saved the best for last. See, here we have a story that would serve as the prequel to what is quintessentially a story that defines Destiny. The story of Jaren Ward and the Last Word. Jaren was a hunter, he was a drifter, and one day he happened on a small town known as Palamon, where he was met with a mixture of curiosity and fear. This is also the place where he would come to meet the boy named Shin Malphur. See, Shin was different. He had a gift for the light. Turns out he was resurrected as a child, and then almost immediately his ghost died. I really wish that wasn't lore. Intrigued by the curiosity that was Shin Malphur, Jaren Ward decided to stay in the town as a protector. This would mean that people would come to look at him as a leader. After all, he was a guardian. However, Palamon already had a leader, a Magister Loken. So, inevitably, this power dynamic would come to a head, and we learn about the confrontation in Ghost Fragment Dark Age 2. Loken's men found Jaren Ward in the courtyard where this had all begun. 9 guns trained on him. 9 cold hearts awaiting the order. Magistrate Loken, standing behind them, looked pleased with himself. Jaren Ward stood in silence. His ghost peeked out over his shoulder. Loken took in the crowd before stepping forward, as if to claim the ground. His ground. You question me? There was venom in his words. This is not your home. I remember Loken's gestures here, making a show of it all. Everyone else was still. Quiet. I tugged at my father's sleeve, but he just tightened his grip on my shoulder to the point of pain. His way of letting me know this was not the time. I'd watched Jaren's every move over the past months, mapping his effortless gestures and slight, earned mannerisms. I'd never seen anything like him. He was something I couldn't comprehend, and yet, I felt I understood all I needed the moment I'd seen him. He was more than us. Not better, not superior, just more. I wanted my father to stop what was happening. Looking back now, I realized that he didn't want to. No one did. As Loken belittled Jaren Ward, taunted him, enumerated his crimes and sins, my eyes were stuck on Jaren's pistol, fixed to his hip, his steady hand resting calmly on his belt. I remembered the pistol's weight, effortless, and my concern faded. I understood. This is our town, my town. Loken was shouting now. He was going to make a show of Jaren, teach the people of Palamon a lesson in obedience. Jaren spoke, clear, calm. Not anymore. Loken laughed dismissively. He had 9 guns on his side. Those gonna be your last words then, boy. The movement was a flash, quick as chain lightning. Jaren Ward spoke and moved. Yours, not mine. Smoke trailed from Jaren's revolver. Loken hit the ground, a dark hole in his forehead. Eyes staring into eternity. Jaren stared down the 9 guns trained on him. One by one, they lowered their aim, and the rest of my life began, where, in a few short years, so many others would be ended. Just the brass balls on Loken, man, staring down a Guardian. Yeah, sure, it didn't work out for him in the end, but you pull your gun on a dude with a ghost, massive flex. Oh wait, shit, yours, not mine, is just such a massive 3-word flex. So much so that I was legitimately annoyed when they removed it from the last word's flavor text and replaced it with some pretentious-ass Shin Malphur quote. I mean, that's what the last word was. In a lot of ways, that quote. Those 3 words summed up the entire journey, from Jaren Ward to Shin Malphur to the dance of words and thorns. 3 words. Yours, not mine. Anyways, ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages, that's gonna be it for the greatest flexes in Destiny lore part 2. I want to say at 8 pages, this was way longer than the greatest flexes in Destiny lore part 1, so if you like it, make sure you leave a comment, make sure you like this video. If it gets to 2,500 likes, as the format goes, the greatest flexes in Destiny lore part 3 will be out within the week. And if you hit 3,000 likes before I get the greatest flexes in Destiny lore part 3 out, I will release a bonus video, the greatest flexes in Halo. So, yeah. Lots of stuff coming down the pipeline, but really, ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages, I just want to thank you again for your immense support of the first video. Remember to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, all those links are in the comments below. If you're feeling generous, support me on Patreon. But above all else, stay frosty.